Overnight, at least one U.S. airport had no air traffic controllers on duty as staff began calling out sick amid the government shutdown. Burbank Airport's tower was unmanned Monday evening, with a team in San Diego taking over operations.
Clearance is closed, ground's closed, local's closed. The tower is closed due to staffing.
California Governor Gavin Newsom slamming President Trump on X, writing, "Thanks at Real Donald Trump, Burbank Airport has 0 air traffic controllers from 4:15 to 10 p.m. today because of your government shutdown." Air traffic controllers are required to work through the shutdown, but will only be paid retroactively once it ends.
What they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How do I make my car payment?
The staffing shortages triggering delays at major airports across the country, including Newark, Denver, and Phoenix. Smaller airports could also be affected. The Transportation Department says funds for the program that allows air carriers to service rural areas will expire next week. Prior to the shutdown, the FAA had already been facing staffing shortages. The Air Traffic Controllers Union saying it will continue partnering with the Department of Transportation to supercharge controller hiring and ensure America's aviation system remains the safest and most efficient in the world. President Trump is now calling on Democrats to reopen the government, writing on Truth Social, "I am happy to work with the Democrats on their failed health care policies or anything else, but first they must allow our government to reopen." Earlier, he implied negotiations are already underway.
We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things.
But Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer denying any talks are happening, saying it's up to the president to end the shutdown.
He's in charge. His party holds majorities across the government. So Americans naturally and correctly believe the burden is on him to fix this mess.
Well, a lot of people that may not be familiar with how the government works, and we need to have basic civics courses going forward so that people can make informed decisions, as though although the government or the Republicans control all 3 houses as far as or all 3 branches of government, it doesn't mean that they have the necessary votes in order to keep the government open. And so the last hope that Democrats have in order to try to get illegal health care for migrants or health care for illegal migrants through so that places like California can subsidize a budget and continue to get funding by the federal government for doing things that they're not supposed to do and stuff like that. And all of these little loopholes is to hold out as much as possible, which I'm going to go into a little bit more later on the Millionaire Morning Show. But the fact of the matter is this: it amazes me because the way that it's supposed to go is you do what you have to do to keep the government open. And we've become so familiar with the fact that the government is shut down all the time. And this is Democrats and Republicans on this particular talking point, but we're so used to the government not being open or politicians not doing what they're supposed to do. And although their wallets get fatter and although they continue to make money and although they get their paycheck and although their net worth goes up, every single time the government always goes through some sort of shutdown. Now, I don't anticipate that the government stays shut down any longer than a couple of weeks from the time that it was shut down. Obviously, I can be wrong about that because they are digging their heels in. I'm going to do a separate video about, furloughed employees and Hakeem Jeffries talking about they're guaranteed to get their money and the Republicans saying that they don't want to give furloughed employees their money in order to have leverage to continue to do a better negotiation. But the fact of the matter is this, is that as you see this happen and taking place in which the air traffic controllers who already are overworked, and it's probably an industry that you want to get into if you are looking for something that's really, really secure. Air traffic controlling they make a lot of money, they work a lot of hours, but you're not going to be able to, get home a lot of times. The air traffic controllers are kind of protesting and they're using this as leverage in order to continue to do what they're going to do. Now you're going to start seeing delays everywhere. I've been seeing them on all over social media. People have been emailing me about all of the delays that's happening all across the United States of America, especially in rural America, where you have a shortage of air traffic controllers, and a lot of the funding comes from the federal government. The way that it's supposed to work is you are supposed to continue to negotiate while you fund the government. So the Obama-era tax credits that continue to give illegal migrants health care, that is something that should be negotiated about and with through the end of the year. But instead, they've been hypocritical in that they've supported that idea. Democrats in particular, the Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi, so on and so forth, they've supported that previously, but now they're trying to have a debate about using the government shutdown as leverage in order to get whatever it is that they want. So right now, in my opinion, if you can hold off on traveling, you probably should hold off on traveling because it's a possibility that your flight can get delayed now.
We're going to begin, though, with a growing impact of the government shutdown now on air travelers across this country. Nearly 6,000 flights were delayed yesterday, some due to staffing issues with workers who are not getting paid. Last night, one airport near Los Angeles went several hours without air traffic controllers in the tower. Chris Van Cleve is at the Phoenix airport with the latest on these disruptions. That's not good, Chris. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning. We are seeing air traffic control staffing issues now several days in a row, often in places that don't typically have staffing issues, like here in Phoenix that saw about 250 delays coming in and out of this airport yesterday. And in California, one major airport tower went to ATC 0. The lights are on at the Hollywood Burbank Airport Control Tower, but Monday evening, there was no one home.
Hey, Burbank Tower, Southwest 695. Southwest 695, SoCal. Hey, are you guys, is clearance open still or is it closed for Burbank?
Air traffic control staffing went to ATC 0, meaning there was no one in the control tower. Pilots were redirected to controllers at other FAA facilities.
Clearance is closed, ground's closed, local's closed. The tower is closed due to staffing. So you just contact SoCal on the 800 number in the green book for your clearance.
And flyers felt the impact.
They rerouted us to LAX and they gave us a voucher.
Staffing issues, including sick calls, hit several major airports and ATC centers on day 6 of the government shutdown, with staffing at some facilities down by 50%.
If we have additional sick calls, we will reduce the flow consistent with a rate that's safe.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy visited controllers at Newark Airport Monday, warning the shutdown would add more stress to their lives.
Now what they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, do I have to take a second job and drive Uber when I'm already exhausted from doing a job that's already stressful, to think about how I can make extra money because the government may not provide me a paycheck?
Back in Burbank, some travelers who face delays empathized with the controllers.
That's the way they have to protest, right? They have no other way to show that it's hurting not just them, but us.
The Air Traffic Controllers Union tried to downplay the staffing issue, saying in a statement it is normal for a few air traffic controllers to call in sick on any given day, and this is the latest example of how fragile our aviation system is in the midst of a national shortage. What we're seeing is not normal based on the number of staffing triggers or shortages we're seeing pop up.
So what I would suggest to people is to be very, very careful and choosing which time you want to travel. Around October, November, and going into December, traveling picks up a lot. It kind of goes to a little bit of a lull after the kids go back to school, and then it picks up a lot more around the holidays. And again, I don't think that this is going to be protracted. I don't think that this is going to be a long thing. The air traffic controllers, they will be, it's furloughed. So basically what's going to happen is that they're going to get their money back, or they're going to get back pay for all of the hours that they actually worked once the government gets back open. I just wish that politicians would do their job and stop using the people as leverage in order to shut the government down. But that's my opinion. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep you guys out updated on the loop.